The type of outburst that makes fans go berserk and reality TV producers salivate was caught on tape last night. The man who lost it in a scene so absurd that it shut down a lounge in Atlanta went viral online and brought Yandy Smith into the biggest hip-hop and love scandal of the year. He was once praised by fans as the reformed family guy. Let's move on to the most significant queries. Did Mendeecees and Yandy's purported infatuation with one another just end? Is Scrappy yes? That's Scrappy just becoming the most unexpected homewrecker on VH1. More than anything, what made guys attack, flip people around, and yell like a man who has just realized that his empire was built on sand? Since this is the kicker, anger was not the only emotion behind the attack. Desperation was the reason. Yandy's calm, measured responses hit him more than any punch, witnesses said. At the mention of Scrappy's name, the entire club turned into a live-action Jerry Springer meets TMZ moment. Stay confined due to the events that occurred. Last night, there was more than just drama on screen. One's reputation, marriage, and career could all be destroyed by this chaos. The cameras caught it, and the bloggers replayed it, and now people in Atlanta are still talking about it. Not just snapped, Mendeecees Harris erupted. The man who used to preach about loyalty, second chances, and building a better future put on a performance, and all those Instagram captions appeared like a bad joke. Now, let's talk about one thing. On other occasions, the anger of the Indies has been extensively reported. Known for his tantrums, legal issues, and a past that seemed to be just one bad decision away from catching up with him before the lawsuits, family photos, and claims of repentance, Mendeecees was popular. Fans never forgot the time he spent behind bars, the rumors of questionable business practices, and the ongoing rumors that Yandy Smith was either harboring a king or cleaning up after a ticking time bomb. However, all of the earlier scandals seemed inconsequential after last night. According to multiple witnesses, they were all conveniently recording on their iPhones. Tension was already present when Mendeecees and Yandy walked into that upscale Atlanta lounge. They looked like a perfect couple. Yandy in a gorgeous dress, Mendeecees with a new lineup. Experts assert, however, that a knife could be used to reduce tension. Yandy wore a fake smile on her face. The Mendeecees. He couldn't turn his head from his phone. The air said, "Something's wrong." Then, as if orchestrated by the messy gods of reality TV, Scrappy descended. Yes, exactly. Scrappy, the rapper, is Mendeecees' longtime friend and cast member. It was a complicated past. They looked cool on paper. In fact, their alliance was more like a precarious truce. Despite smiling for the cameras, they never trusted each other, and last night proved just that. When Scrappy entered the VIP section and gave Yandy a hug, Mendeecees' entire demeanor completely altered. He clenched his jaw. His hands tightened. The air in the room went out. Immediately after Scrappy left, witnesses say Yandy leaned down and said something to Mendeecees. It was whatever it was that sent him into a tailspin. Raising his head, he slammed his glass against the table and barked. "We are doing just that right now." As serene as ice, Yandy rolled her eyes. "I'm not sure what you're talking about." It was then that gasoline began to burn. "Please don't toy with me, Yandy. Avoid sitting here and acting as though you are unaware of what is going on." The response from Yandy, an edged weapon. "Instead, ask Scrappy why you're feeling so pressed." Blow. In the lounge, there was silence. Security started to approach them. Fans pulled out their phones like press photographers. And Mendeecees? With his face flushed scarlet, his hands shook as though he was fighting to hold back his rage. His hand gripped Yandy's arm, enough to cause a gasp from everyone in the VIP area, but not so difficult as to damage anything. Taking hold of her arm, Yandy murmured, "Don't touch me." It was then that the floodgates opened. When Mendeecees flipped the entire table, bottles broke, glasses flew, and food splashed across the velvet ropes. There were cries across the room as security rushed in. Then Mendeecees' voice broke through the chaos. "What on earth do you think you are, Yandy? Have you thought you could fool me?" Even Yandy? She only smiled. With a smile, she seemed to have been waiting for this. The woman, the commotion was cut like a razor by words. You should ask Scrappy, maybe. Mendeecees resisted, and security pulled his back while yelling at Yandy to tell me the truth. At the very moment when things couldn't get much messier, fate provided the final joke. When Scrappy came back, he looked completely indifferent. The sight of him caused Mendeecees to lose what little composure he still had. Isn't that him? In secret, you've been seeing Scrappy. It's even worse that Yandy didn't contest it. She was not emotional. She didn't grovel. She sank back in her chair and remarked, "Maybe you should have been paying more attention." Her comment caused the internet to go crazy. The reply from Scrappy was calm, haughty, and deadly. "Just the way it is, bro." Slightly restrained by security, Mendeecees went to Scrappy. Prior to the movie starting, fans yelled, seats were flipped, and beverages were loaded. More popular on the internet than any reunion brawl could. However, the story becomes more nuanced here. It was not merely a public outcry. Years of rumors, suspicions, and whispers came to light in this final event. According to insiders, Yandy and Scrappy's relationship isn't completely new. It has been seething for a while, hidden from view. This was Mendeecees' way of saying, "I'm done protecting you." Scrappy and Yandy didn't just happen last night, a second insider whispered. Yandy has been holding some truth bombs and acting shaddily for a while, the source said. They have been tinkering for months. The lounge blow-up was just the start of it. The next morning, Yandy's Instagram story featured a glass of wine, a smirk, and the statement, "What's done in the dark always comes to light." Fans are instantly deciphering every image, comment, and mysterious post. Was it a coincidence? The internet doesn't believe in coincidences. Now, let's not forget that this is about love and hip-hop. Chaos is marketing. Drama is currency. Mendeecees is allegedly furious behind the scenes, calling lawyers, threatening lawsuits, and plotting revenge. Scrappy is doubling down, posting shady captions like "loyalty over everything." Fans aren't missing the irony. Yandy is playing it cool, but insiders say she's subtly getting ready for the storm. Because if Mendeecees chooses to produce receipts, text messages, financial records, and whispered rumors about Yandy funding Scrappy's lifestyle, this meltdown isn't just a viral clip. It's the start of a scandal that could end her career. Witnesses claim that Yandy and Scrappy weren't exactly hiding when they were seen together on the night of the lounge explosion. Arriving at a hotel in downtown Atlanta with Scrappy's arm around her waist and Yandy laughing as if the chaos hadn't even touched her. The following morning, another Instagram story showed Yandy in the passenger seat of Scrappy's car with the caption, "Moving on, the blogs had a field day. Hollywood Unlocked." The Shade Room and TMZ all ran alongside the headline. Scrappy and Yandy were pictured together following Mendeecees' breakdown. Supporters went crazy. Apparently, Mendeecees wasn't insane after all. In reality, Yandy abandoned him for Scrappy. Now, savage people are dissolving marriages. The internet declared war as the ideas and memes rolled in. And Mendeecees plotted while the bloggers profited and the fans laughed. Sources close to him said that he paced his home yelling, "She really thinks she can play me like this," when those hotel pictures appeared. At that point, he called, not to Scrappy or Yandy, but to his attorneys. For if Yandy and Scrappy felt that last night was chaotic, the following chapter is going to completely upend hip-hop and love. The internet didn't just react when those hotel photographs appeared on blogs. It completely collapsed. Investigations of crime scenes emerged from Twitter discussions. Yandy's Instagram selfies and the jewelry she wore were being compared side by TikTok investigators. Additionally, with tags like chilly, Instagram gossip pages added fuel to the fire. Yandy is no longer even attempting to conceal it. Mendeecees had experienced humiliation before. He had previously escaped accusations of infidelity, corporate problems, and even federal prosecution. However, this being spread online as a man who was taken advantage of by his wife and his alleged buddy was unacceptable because it was both public and personal. Insiders claim that as soon as he contacted his attorneys, Mendeecees began organizing a counterattack to burn the ground, not only to clean his reputation. He warned his close group, according to sources, if she wants war, she's going to get war. Scrappy, He's done. At that point, the so-called receipts started to circulate. A popular Atlanta gossip blog published screenshots allegedly showing Yandy texting Scrappy, and the timestamps of the messages oddly coincided with the weekends that Mendeecees was known to be traveling. One message read, "He's out of town. Come tonight," urged another, "and don't post anything." But by the time they got them, they didn't care about authenticity. They were seeking drama. In another case, financial records from Yandy and Mendy's joint business account were allegedly leaked. When Scrappy was in town, highlighted transactions showed cash withdrawals, expensive dinners, and reservations at upscale hotels. Bloggers portrayed it as Yandy using the family bag to finance her side relationship with Scrappy, and timelines were flooded with memes of Mendeecees, who was dubbed Atlanta's biggest clown. In a TikTok that went viral, Yandy's Instagram livestream featured Bianchi's Irreplaceable blasting in the background, with the caption to the left, "Now, the truth is out. Did I not tell you that?" She began to live while drinking champagne. That one comment reignited the conversation between Sierra and Yandy, fusing two controversies into one huge storm. Team Sierra makes a statement. As if the chaos wasn't enough, Scrappy joined the chat room with the comment, "Bry with Yandy on your lap." Instead of denying, apologizing, or even remaining silent, Scrappy doubled down on shade with the comment, "Loyalty over everything." During her Instagram live, Rashida Frost said, "Bry with Yandy on your lap." Although she didn't name Yandy, everyone knew who she was referring to. According to fans, Rashida wasn't just drinking tea. She was pulling Yandy along while approving Sierra. Hip-hop and Love's producers were apparently rushing by this point. On the one hand, this was gold for ratings. On the other, sponsors were panicking, lawyers were flooding in, and the entire group looked like they were about to blow up on TV. Mona Scott Young reportedly stepped in and told the crew, "Keep the cameras rolling. We're not missing this." According to an insider, the cameras continued to roll. Mendeecees wasn't merely shouting behind the scenes. He had a plan. According to people close to him, he had already gotten in touch with the Shade Room and TMZ to arrange exclusive interviews. He intended to reveal whatever nefarious detail he could find about Yandy and Scrappy. Mendeecees sought to sway public opinion through everything from private texting to dubious business deals, from claimed stolen money to betrayal behind closed doors. He wasn't going to stop there either. One insider even said that Mendeecees was working on a trash track. Yes, you heard correctly. A full-fledged rap song directed at Yandy and Scrappy. Lines like, "You grinned in my face while you lay in his bed or thought I wouldn't find out. But I stayed 2 steps ahead" were allegedly included in the song. Brutal. If Mendeecees did release it, there would be an instant online frenzy. Naturally, this was being devoured by fans like the Super Bowl of scandals. On Twitter, there were camps. "He deserves better." Team Mendeecees. "Yandy has been sly. He embarrassed himself." Team Yandy. "He was responsible for that meltdown." And Team Scrappy. "Scrappy doesn't give a damn. He's having a great time." The hashtags #Mendeecees meltdown, #Yandy exposed, and #Scrappy side piece were trending. Millions of people watched TikTok modifications that used the well-liked table flip video. YouTubers dissected the hotel photos pixel by pixel in whole reaction videos. Insiders claimed that he had more evidence in Washington, D.C., and was retaining it for the reunion. Was not going to be a special reunion. Devastation would be shown on television. Another bomb went off just as fans thought the story had reached its climax. Another set of screenshots allegedly showing Yandy and Scrappy discussing keeping things secret so the kids wouldn't find out surfaced late one evening. Whether it was real or not, the story had already gotten out of control. Supporters cried out betrayal. The Shade Room's comment section became a battleground. Yandy was no longer just the queen of poise. As her empire fell apart around her, she was depicted as cold, calculating, and unconcerned, making her the season's villain. Fans took her silence as a sign of guilt. The fallout was not only messy but disastrous. The court of popular opinion had already made its decision by the time the second wave of receipts reached the blogs. It wasn't just a mess. She was to blame. It didn't matter if it was fake, real, or a mix of the two. Fans weren't expecting the truth. Instead, they were searching for chaos through scrolling, and that's exactly what they got. Mendeecees stopped posting anything on social media the morning after the new screenshots were leaked. There were no posts, no stories, and no questionable captions. Silence is more powerful than words in the internet age, so say something, bro. Avoid being played like this by her. Insiders say Mendeecees sat down with his legal staff and began writing documents after word spread that he was preparing to file 2 lawsuits. One against Scrappy for interfering with his business and causing him emotional pain, and another against him for carrying out the largest revenge rollout in love and hip-hop history. Fans showered his last photo with comments, but they were not aware that he was already planning this. Accused Yandy of embezzling the money from the marriage, obtaining evidence that Yandy used their joint business account to pay for her alleged secret meetings with Scrappy, lodging, meals, and even gifts. If verified, it was fraud, not just embarrassing, and it wasn't just that. According to reports, Mendeecees demanded that Scrappy be removed from the upcoming season, and he reportedly gave Mona Scott-Young a simple ultimatum: either he or I will do it. Of course, Mona didn't intend to remove anyone but instead stepped up her efforts, approving a reunion showdown in which Yandy, Mendeecees, and Scrappy would all be in the same room. Lawyers on standby, a contract signed, cameras rolling, and the streets bustling. Yandy denied her accusation, saying, "This isn't a reunion. A bloodbath is about to break out here." Instead of addressing the accusations, she embraced the villain. When she went live, she drank wine and blasted Beyoncé's Irreplaceable. She captioned the video. Moving on, people kept talking about it, with some calling her iconic and others calling her ruthless. And in the algorithm, that was all that mattered. But Scrappy decided to prod the bear. Mendeecees shared a mysterious picture with the caption, "Real ones don't fold." Will Smith, the man who stood by a woman when everyone laughed at him, was compared to him in memes. Brutal. Then came the diss track. Rumor had it that Mendeecees entered the booth and recorded a disc directed at Scrappy and Yandy, with the lyrics, "As you lay in his bed, you grinned at me. I'm ahead of Slash, who assumed I wouldn't find out. I built you, Slash, an empire. I gave my name to you. Cut. You are now filthy and bringing only embarrassment." It didn't matter if the track was a flop or fire. The idea that Mendeecees, a man who isn't known for rapping, was releasing bars out of pure retaliation. Fans urged him to disclose it. Blogs give away tidbits. Additionally, according to Scrappy sources, he told friends, "If that track drops, it's war." However, the real conflict was already unfolding behind the scenes, with sponsors fleeing, Yandy's promotional photos taken by a jewelry company, a fitness contract secretly terminated, and the weight of treachery causing even her once unbreakable family brand to crumble. Rumor has it that Yandy called Mona Scott-Young sobbing and begged her to keep the situation under control, but Mona smelled ratings. "We can't control it now," Mona told her, according to a production source. Advocates weren't just loyal. They were part of something bigger than ourselves. They were consumed by something. Hours were spent by YouTubers analyzing the controversy. TikTok detectives created timelines connecting lost weeks of filming, enigmatic captions, and previous interviews. Other podcasts expressed their thoughts as well, calling it the messiest reality TV disaster of the decade. The aftermath at home, according to insiders, caused Mendeecees to not only be upset but also to unravel. "That is worse than betrayal," he allegedly told a confidant, adding, "She humiliated me and made me a meme in addition to cheating." He no longer felt angry over love. Ego, pride, and reputation are all involved. But despite the diverting rumors, hotel photos, and questionable lives, Yandy refused to openly crumble. And she stayed icy calm. At one point, she told her squad, "I lose if I cry. If I kept my cool, fans would get bored," but they didn't. Their mouths were moistening up. The reunion tape hung like a doomsday clock. Reports stated that producers were getting ready to make a major announcement demonstrating that Mendeecees had additional screenshots, possibly even video evidence. Fans kept speculating. Had he compromised her phone? Did we have evidence that Erica Banks was a spy? Did Scrappy leave a trace by accident? There were a lot of possibilities, and everyone wanted to witness the explosion live on VH1. The final twist then materialized. The kind of controversy that turns into a myth. Online, a blurry video that was allegedly taken weeks prior to the lounge accident surfaced. Did someone doctor it? Perhaps it showed Yandy saying, "He'll never find out," while laughing with Scrappy in a car. Was it enough to ruin her credibility? Obviously. The bloggers had it everywhere. The headlines screamed the smoking gun. Fans considered the case closed. The reputation of Yandy was not only damaged but ruined in a flash. There was no longer any online discussion about Yandy's cheating. How long has this been going on? Did Scrappy ruin a marriage for clout? Will Mendy nuke their careers with his diss track and interviews? Seemed to be the most pressing topic. Did love and hip-hop as we know it end? They become the biggest scandal of the season, but the implications don't stop with the so-called ideal marriage. It shakes up the entire franchise. Sponsors, contracts, and cast alliances are all at stake. Mendeecees was honing his weapons. Yandy was sipping her wine and pretending she wasn't crying inside, and fans were getting ready for the reunion. There was only one truth, without doubt. This was not only a drama. There was destruction here. Okay, so here we are. The glasses have cracked, the seemingly flawless picture of Mendeecees and Yandy has disappeared, and the roles have been reversed. After what started as a tense date night in Atlanta descended into a viral frenzy, everyone was left wondering, is this the end for one of the most famous couples in hip-hop and love? Or is this just the beginning of a scandal that will destroy all they have fought so hard to accomplish? Think about it. If those hotel photos are real and Yandy is the owner of the documents that were leaked, Mendeecees is more than just a man who has been duped. He's a retaliatory, receipt-keeping dude. Is this all smoke and mirrors, though? Or did Yandy just become the most vilified woman in reality TV history? What is Scrappy's situation? Does he destroy homes? Or is he just a pawn in a nuclear conspiracy? It turns out that perception is stronger than proof when it comes to hip-hop and love. It's not holding out for the fans. Regarding the facts, even before they have reached the reunion stage, they are already declaring winners and losers and choosing sides. When that reunion comes around, be ready for explosives. Now it's your turn. Which side are you on? In your opinion, is Yandy guilty? Or does Mendeecees' vengeance plan seem too good to be true? Is Scrappy just caught up in a bigger-than-himself maze? Or did he really go too far? In the space provided for comments below, kindly express your thoughts. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, like this video, and subscribe if you want to be the first to say no the next time this story takes a turn.